Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Airsoft, where today I've got this double bell BY-012 black that I'm going to modernise with some externals. So a quick note on safety: if I'm unboxing, shooting down range, doing disassemblies, I always make sure I'm nice and safe. So I've always got eye protection on just in case something happens. Make sure mags are out and empty, and obviously unless I'm doing the shooting. Obviously that's using chrono, and make sure that there's no ammunition left in anything as well. So make sure you're doing the same. Hi guys, and welcome back. I hope you've seen the recent unboxing and internal review of this double bell BY-12 black. I've been really impressed with this, and I do love an AK, but I also love a modernised AK. So I've got a few bits that I'm going to sort of fit on video for you today. So first of all, I wasn't quite expecting it to be as thick and chunky in that, but I've got I believe it's classed as the Grizzly muzzle break for it. Really quite thick and quite chunky and heavy, so I'm going to be fitting that. I've got a little slightly angled vert grip to go on the handguard I've got an AR style buffer tube and ergonomic stock as well to go on it, which is a Magpul styly but not Magpul one. And then I've also got a key mod handguard. Now I'm not a massive key mod kind of guy traditionally. I'm more of an M-lock, I think is better. But I just saw this on a link on Taiwan gun on a picture, and I just thought, yeah, I quite like that. Now, unfortunately, it didn't come with any rails with it, which is a little bit disappointing, but I'm sure I've got some laying around, so we can figure that out as we go along. So let's get cracking. I did also buy a Riz block to go on the front side, but I forgot and didn't check properly that this doesn't have the traditional style leaf sight. It's got the rear one there. Not to worry, we'll worry about that later. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the stock. So to do this, all we need to do is we're just going to lift the top cover up. We're going to knock this pin up and out, and we can put the AR tube on. So I'm just going to take this off camera and take this out. See if I can do this. Get rid of those. So that's just going out with my own sort of strength, just pushing on a screwdriver up. So that's come out, so I can get rid of that out of the way. And we'll bring in this buffer tube. Now with this, it's just a standard buffer tube that's mounted onto an adapter. Open that up. And it does look, oh no, I was going to say it's screwed in, but it's not. It must be screwed on via, it must be more like a gas blowback sort of AR tube. So now that should just click in there, and I should be able to just push that pin back down. So I'm just going to do that now. So just tap that back in. I've now got an AR stock. Now it is a tad wobblier than it was before, but nothing that you wouldn't get from a traditional AK folding stock as it is. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to put this stock on. Now it doesn't come down. I need a flat head in there. Just rest that up on there while I do this. There we go. So all I did there, I was just getting this pin to come down far enough to let the adjustment loop come over it. So already, I won't lie, it's looking better already. I've got the stock on there. That's looking pretty damn cool. Now that stock has shaved off probably about an inch, at least an inch off the back there, which for me, I have got quite long arms, but I quite like feeling like my guns are much closer into me and into my chest. So that's sort of a little bit shorter, particularly the AR length, fully compressed, is much more my style. Next thing we're going to do then is we're going to go for the muzzle brake. So I've just pulled back the retaining pin, and that one screws off. Now I'm not sure, I think this new one screws onto that. It doesn't need the 14mm. Now obviously I could put the tracer unit on it if I wanted, but let's see what this one looks like first. There is a grub screw in there as well. Now it does, oh wow, it's even included its own one of those adapters. Where's that suddenly stopped? So this has stopped, suddenly stopped coming out. There we go. I just had to get the needle nose on there. It's quite gunked up threads, I suppose, just to get that out there. Now let's see if it will fit onto the original ones. It's not having that. So looks like we're taking this one off, and we'll grub screw the new one on. To be fair, I'm going to say the threads look different, but I'm not convinced that they do look different. Let me just check that. I'm just checking which side. It's definitely that one. Right, so we know which side the grub screw's going in. And I'm going to screw this down. Right, locate the grub screw. So the grub screw's going to go there now, and I'll get the appropriate bit. I usually find, I usually find Torx 6 is usually what I need for these little grub screws, and I have not disappointed again. So I've just positioned that in. I'm just going to screw that in, lock that down tight, take that out. Now this should screw onto that. Obviously those are tight threads anyway. There we go. Now let's get that a little bit further. Now I'm not sure which way up that should go based on those, possibly further round, but it's not actually screwing all the way down. But I want to leave it like that. I'm not convinced I'm going to keep that on. I might just go back to the 40mm threads and put the tracer unit with the muzzle flash on it. So next thing we're going to look at is the handguards. Now this is going to be the bit I think that's going to be a little bit trickier. So we'll have a go and see what happens. So I lifted up the cover, and that released the upper handguard. I've undone the grub screw and flipped the little handle over. That relieves the retaining grip to let me get out the bottom here. Now let's have a look. Which way does that go? So what I'm doing here is, it looks like I'm potentially going to have to take the outer barrel off for this. So I'm going to just take the screw out there, take the screw out this side, helps if I use the Torx wasn't purchasing in there then, so that was a Torx 9 I tried to use. It wasn't purchasing, so I've got a 2.5 bit hex head there. So that bit comes out. So just in case you do get one of these, this hollow bit was on the inside, and the intention is that this handguard is going to sit like that going forward. Now the upper handguard should in theory be quite easy. It should just sit in there and the pin should go in. That's even not... Now I just tested that out, and unfortunately the pin there is a little bit too long, so I've had to sort of semi-force it, so it's lifted the handguard up a little bit. So if I do intend on keeping this handguard, then I'm probably going to need to drill a hole into that, which is not a massive problem I suppose, but it is in a way I suppose a problem as well. Now I'm not convinced if that's going to go on there. So the idea is that this should go on here, sit in, I would assume it's going to sit behind there. That's going to come up. Might even need to take this barrel clip off as well. Which means I'm going to have to take this front sight off. So just looking, it does look like the front sight's going to have to come off. It looks like this little clip here sits around this part here, and that's how it actually retains instead of using this clip. So I'm just going to go and get these bits off here. I'm probably going to have to take the outer barrel out of here as well. So let's start messing. Next thing, I'm going to try and get these C-clips out to take this front sight post off. I'm going to take that off camera. So they came out surprisingly easier than I thought they would actually. So I'm just going to take that off. That was handy, and I'm going to put that back on in a minute. I need to take this off. Now I'm pretty sure that's not going to sit behind there. So let's just check the fitting on that. So if that sits there, that's going to go into there. It's just now whether this will sit, which it won't. This is too thick. So unfortunately, all that effort and I can't do what I wanted to do. So I'm going to have to put this back as it was, and that is not going to fit, unfortunately. Oh well, never mind. Just put the front sight back on. A little bit deflated that I couldn't get this new handguard on, but you know, it is what it is. It's how it goes, isn't it, at times. So I'm just going to slide that in there. In theory, I suppose I could get it machined down. I'll show you what the issue was. So by the looks of it, this needs to go behind here. Now, as you can see, that's just too thick to go in behind there. And it also can't sit in front of it here because the mounting needs to be there at the back. So it's just, unfortunately, not going to fit. So I'm going to fit the original handguards back. Which are not the best and the most stable, but they're functional. They do what they need to do. That little lever keeps coming out. So to remedy that, I'm just going to take it forward again. That go forward. That goes in.
tighten down the grub screw in there, some size. Grub screws done. Pull the lever tight. The handle's gone down now, so that's nice and solid. That's better fitted than it was before. Oh well, at least one positive thing's come out of it. So, the stock's looking nice. I do like the stock. I'm just not convinced about that. That doesn't fit as well as I thought. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the rest off. I'm going to put barrel extension on, and I'm going to put the little muzzle flash suppressor on there. Tracer. So I'll get rid of these out of the way. And that. And that. And those. That can go there. Those out of the way. So the reason I said a barrel extension is just because obviously if I wanted to use the tracer function, the end of the barrel, brass inner barrel, goes too far and will cause issues. So I'm just going to screw that back, which means that, as you can see there, I've still got a few mil off the end there, but that means then that nicely the Spitfire will then sit on there. There we go, tighten that down. Oh, didn't realise the outer spun on its own. That doesn't. Tighten it. There we go. So I could put an O-ring on there just to get it lined up, but there we go. For a little bit of effort, a little bit of time. Slightly disappointed that I didn't get all the bits on that I got originally, but we've got ourselves a slightly modernised AK there. I could get some sort of trendy little mags with it as well. I'm actually quite liking the little bit longer front end there with the just turned it on by accident. I'm liking the slightly longer front end there with the tracer and the barrel extension there, and it does feel really comfy now to get in my shoulder. I can get it really nice and close to me. A little bit of stock wobble, but nothing I'm overly concerned about at all. So I hope that's been useful to you. If you are thinking about getting this model and that particular Keymod handguard, possibly think again unless you've got some sort of machine shop to do a little bit of milling and things like that. I do hope in general that's been useful to you. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.